Oh, yeah. What's going on, everybody? Uh-oh. Whew, I feel a little bit discombobulated tonight. Only because, here we are, rolling. I have everything I need. All right. Coffee, ashtray. Oh. Cutter lighter. What's going on, everybody? How you all doing tonight? It's December 23rd, so almost Christmas, but not quite Christmas yet. I'm Jay. We're back again with we're back in the studio finally after what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks, yeah. Through the whole month of December, I haven't really been doing the live stream in the same way that we've been doing it. Thanks for coming back again. What's up, Mark? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. We're back again, and so I've been in the Middle East this whole 3 weeks, and I know last week we had some problems. So on the 2nd is the night that I flew to Dubai. So I did a pre-recorded show for that, which I think a lot of you guys saw, and that turned out well. And then we were able to actually do a live stream at 4 a.m. and actually I think we started at 3 a.m. So we started an hour early in Riyadh. So that was, instead of 8 o'clock 2 Thursdays ago, it was 7 o'clock here. And that turned out pretty well. Like we had Ahmed Al-Rashidi from Kuwait. He was the very first Saudi Arabia Barista champion, and has been the MC for the last two. And because he's become a nice friend and great guy. And he was just happened to be walking by, and I was like, "Hey, Ahmed, why don't you come?" And Ahmed loves to be in front of people and talking to people and relating with people. So he was more than happy to join. And then eventually one of our judges, Sean Ong from Singapore, happened to be walking by. So he came, everyone's just walking around. It's only 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Everybody's just walking around. So it's like, yeah. Rusty, what's going on, man? Welcome back. Good to see all of you. So it was very, so that was kind of cool because we're out there and it's the strange thing about Saudi is that, 3 a.m. is not that late. Well, it's about as late as most people go. Like that's when a lot of people are kind of winding down, going home, going to bed. Because the whole thing about the night or the whole culture of being in the desert, it's so hot during the summer times during the day that nobody really wants to go out during the day. So all of the social activities at night, and that carries throughout the year. So you go out around Riyadh at 11 o'clock, it's pretty hopping around the town until at least 1 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Most people go home around by 3, and they're in bed by 3 or 3, I'd say 3. And then they're back to work at 10 a.m. So it's a pretty interesting lifestyle out there. Anyway, so we've got coming up today, we've got some coffee to try from a place called Grandmother Coffee in Dubai, as well as some cigars that I still haven't, honestly, I haven't decided what cigar yet because I've got a couple here, and I just haven't really had the moment to schedule the cigar schedule. So I've got a couple here for us to choose from, and we're going to do that. And got a couple of things to show you and talk about. But I think we should get right into it. So first of all, we're going to use this coffee from Grandmother. So one of our judges, this girl, Yasmin Azar, she came along with us as her first time judging. We brought her along, really kind of newbie kind of judge, first time out. So wanted to give her some exposure to that. So she came out, and she has a friend in Dubai by the name of Freddie, who's actually originally from Uganda. And she was planning to go to Dubai, and then she couldn't. There was some kind of scheduling conflict, so she wasn't able to go. And so I told her, hey, I'll bring that. She was going to give him some coffee. So I said, hey, I'll bring it. I'm going to Dubai, so I'll bring the package to him. So I didn't really know Freddie that well. Like we've crossed paths a couple times because of my my time in Uganda, where he's from, but we didn't really meet. So I went over to he's the head roaster there, so I went to the roastery and had a really nice time hanging out with him, talking about coffee and just getting to know him, and actually shot some video with him. I think it's going to turn out really well for the channel, at least an episode about Freddie and about grandmother roasting. And it was really great. So he actually gave me this coffee, and this is a Red Condor from Tolima in Colombia. And as you can see, this is a special kind of coffee: tropical fruits, floral, sugarcane, creamy body. The crazy thing is that I brought coffee with me to give to friends, right? So I brought some coffee with me, and I was happy to give it all away. And I was like, all right, I'm good. Now I got space in my bag. And then invariably, you run into people and they're like, hey, we want to give you some coffee, or can we give some coffee to try and give us feedback on? And I was like, oh, okay, so you really don't want to say no. And not that I'm going to say no, nor do I really want to say no, but I'm happy to do it. But I ended up with a lot more coffee coming home than I left with, 3 times more coffee coming home. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I got to worry about bags and everything. Yeah, exactly. A coffee mule. That's exactly it. So this coffee was roasted on the 31st of October, Halloween. You can see it there. Can you see it? There it is. And it has expiration date of the 31st of January. And I decided to try this coffee tonight because it's one of these easy using trap packs that are really good for travel. So I figured, you know what? Let me use this one because honestly, I just don't want to bust out all. I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to bust out all the gear. But we've got this. So it comes in these these packs, and then it shows you. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is that thing that originated out of Japan. Oh, there she is. How are you doing, Yasmina? This is the coffee that Freddie gave to me. And so this is, I think these originated from Japan. And so they're kind of these things that you put into, I don't know what they're easy to use. All right, let's get our set up here. And I think we use this coffee, this whatever this is, this server. So it's all sealed. So you just open it up, right? Tear it open. And it's also an Arabic, right? You have this, and of course now I can't really see it. So it's slowly pour hot water in circles until the coffee grounds are covered. Then stop. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Okay, so these things, right? So it comes in this pack, right? As you can see, and there are these there are these. You tear off the top. It's sealed at the top, but you tear it off so that you can open it. But before you do that, you want to pull out these wings. If you open it first, well, I'm guessing, but I've only used these kind of things once. Like a friend of mine, Susie, she owns Dublin Coffee and Soul. She gave me some of these a few years back. But you basically set these on top like this, as thus. Oh gosh, that's not working. Oh, there we go. And then we can take the top and tear it off. Oh, that didn't work too well. That worked all right. And so we're supposed to put, oh my gosh. Yeah, they do really nice. They have really nice logos, and their packaging is really pretty. In the Middle East, they do really nice packaging because, everything there is very, very fancy. All right, let's see here. How do we slowly pour hot water in circles until the coffee grounds are covered, then stop. Let the coffee bloom 10 to 30 seconds. Repeat this 2 more times with 10 seconds split between pours. Pour remaining hot water. Allow drip to bag to steep for at least 1 minute. How much water? 12 grams. Oh, 12 grams of coffee, 200 mils. Okay. So 200 mils. Yes, exactly. 12 grams. 12 grams, Mark. Roast and packed in Dubai, UAE, United Arab Emirates. Grandmother Roastery, branch of Nostalgia LLC. The last time that I was in Dubai in 2018, I actually went to their cafe called Nostalgia. My friend Gautam Gamberi brought me down there to check it out. And actually, Gautam, if you guys know, ever heard of him, but Gautam is this guy in Dubai, and he runs a place called, oh my gosh, Brewing Gadgets. And basically, he is like the most connected person in coffee and pretty much knows what's happening around the coffee world, around the world. So, you know, he's always got like stories about what's happening and what's going on. All right, let's get to it. I forgot to bring the pouring kettle, so now I'm going to go from the boiling kettle. And it could be very dangerous, but we're just going to... Oh, there it is. It's starting. We're just going to go very slowly. Should stand. Yeah, because I'm not getting all of it. So the coffee, I wish I could. I really need to get, one day I'm going to have finally I'll be a big YouTuber, and I'll be able to share with you like an upper view camera. But the grind is actually quite very fine. All right, so we're rolling now. I always kind of worry that maybe it's going to fall. So don't put too much water in there. Yeah, it's enough for a cup on the plane. But the thing is, I don't know if I'd want to. I'd be concerned about brewing this on the plane. Like, you know, if I'm on United and I ask them, hey, can I get a paper cup? And they give me that paper cup they use for the coffee, and I put this on it. And if there's turbulence, oh my gosh, man, then what? I do worry about that. And yes, we're gonna ask, are more connected than yes, Gautam is definitely more connected than me. He's being fed. Like, I live in a bubble, right? I may know quite a lot of people in coffee, but really I live in a bubble. Like, I don't really talk to everyone all the time about and getting like all the feedback. Like when we were in Riyadh, someone said to me when we were there, he was like, you know, I just saw Gautam and I was telling him that I was doing this project, and he didn't know about it. And he was like, oh man, I didn't know about that. And he said, the guy said to me, he's like, I finally knew more than he did. And I said, well, dude, if you realize that you're telling him, so you're feeding him information, now he can tell everybody else. So he's still very connected. All right, so we are, You know, speaking of doing it on planes, right? I actually brought that AeroPress. I don't know if you saw the gift guide, right? But in the gift guide this year, I was recommending the AeroPress Go. So I brought that with me on the plane, and I had the intention of like making a video about, you know, I really, honestly, I hate those people that do the pictures and videos of brewing the AeroPress on the airplane. I really hate that. Like, they just, for some reason, that historically has irritated me. But I thought, you know what? I'll be one of those guys. I'm going to do it. And then like I got on the plane and I sat in economy the whole way to Saudi Arabia, and it was all tight and it was packed and it was uncomfortable. And I was like, there's just no space to brew coffee. I was like, I don't care about that. I was like, forget it. It's too dangerous. Too much hassle. All right, we're going. I think we're almost there. Yeah, this whole thing about 1-2 pours, I don't think that really works because I don't think it holds enough. Like we're kind of, if you look here, you can kind of see we're about 200. I'll do a little bit more. All right, that should get it to us. So Mark says 12-200 has been my ratio for the Kono brewer. Oh, you have the Kono? Really? That's like super rare in America. I do 30-30, 70-70, 2 blooms. Yeah, I should probably try that kind of 30-30, 70-70, but Then I'd have to dig out the digital scale. And this, we're just going to use our force powers to like feel our way. Like, look at this. 300? Just under 300. So we're about at 200. All right, now we have to get rid of this thing. So here's the thing. If I'm on the plane, okay, if I was on the plane, let's say I'm on the plane, right? I would have to take this pouch. All right. Oh, here's the problem. You can't, it's like super tight to get in. Oh, it fits. It fits. All right, it fits. It fits. It fits. All right. All right, there it is. Grandmother Roastery. This is the, what is it? The Red Condor from Tolima. Toss that in the trash. So we're supposed to have tropical fruits and floral. Here, I'll show you. Tropical fruits and floral sugarcane creamy body. Tropical fruits and floral sugarcane creamy body. So we're going to find out if it really does taste like that. Yeah, like brown sugar kind of nose. Oh. Ooh. That was interesting. So the initial sip was there's initial like feeling of like sweetness, like a brown sugar sweetness on the tongue that was quickly followed up. Like it was like brown sugar and then like that, right? It was brown sugar and then the then part was like a bitterness, like a harsh bitterness that like puckers the cheeks. Oh yeah, there's a bitterness, and I don't know what that's from. Maybe it's from the grinding of the coffee. I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to do that 30-30-70-70. Rusty says, pouring that angle will give you tendinitis. Yeah, that's not a good way to do it. But the things I do for you guys on this show, risking life and limb, going to foreign nations in the middle of Omicron and, gosh knows. Yeah, don't want to join me. Not yet. Maybe in the bathroom. Which was terrible on the way back, right? Leaving Frankfurt, flying to Chicago. We had a 2.5-hour delay because the bathrooms wouldn't work. Like two of the bathrooms. So we ended up departing Frankfurt with 2 bathrooms inoperative. And it's like, my gosh, couldn't you go another half an hour? Because according to EU rules, if your flight is delayed by 3 hours minimum, you get $600. I was like, oh, $600 is coming. It's like we're leaving 2 hours, 35 minutes. Like, no, another 25 minutes would be great. Yes, exactly. At that moment, the person seated in front would decide to decline and not get. Yeah, that's the problem. It's all like tight, like especially in those Lufthansa flights. Like I flew Lufthansa from Frankfurt to Riyadh, and then Riyadh to Frankfurt. I mean, then Dubai to Frankfurt. And man, their economy class is really tight, and they have this premium economy thing. But I flew premium economy a couple years back when they first introduced it with United. And actually, I didn't like it. I prefer the economy plus seat because, like, for me, I like to get a little man spreading going on, right? So I can, like, especially if the seat next to me is open, I can lift up that middle armrest and just kind of stretch out a little bit. But on those premium economy seats, they have those type of, they got more leg room. They're wider slightly. They got more recline. But the thing is, the tray tables are inside the armrest. So you pull it's that kind of thing, right? So that means that both sides are hard. You're like when you're in the bulkhead seat. And I really hate those seats. Like I hate that kind of thing with a passion. Like I want to be able to lift up the armrest, maybe like angle myself, like one of the flights I got, like Frankfurt, it was the Frankfurt to Chicago flight. I got really, really lucky. I got the whole row to myself. I mean, this plane was packed. Like there was no other rows available. But for some reason, by some luck of God, or by the choice of Allah, they gave me this whole seat row open. So I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally lie down. It was really great. But anyway, yeah. And then Tony says he would have definitely been flagged as terrorist. Actually, it was on the plane, but here it was a plunging thing, and it's a red. I'll show you. It's got this red cap, so people are probably like, if I wore the shemagh, people have been like, what are you doing? But yeah, it's actually pretty cool because I think it's nice and compact. Like I think the AeroPress is really big, and I really, and I don't know if I said this before, but I really dislike bringing brewing gear with me. I dislike bringing anything to brew coffee with me. Like hand grinders, hate them, can't stand them. Like I know everybody loves them and all that, but man, I spent my apprentice years being the guy grinding coffee. So on our trips, and I wasn't down with that. So I don't make our apprentices now do it, and I don't want to bring it. The runner-up was this Kalita Tall. I was going to bring this. I thought about bringing this right on the trip and making a video about this, and I might still. But the problem with this one, right, is that it's super like slidey. Like I'm that makes me super nervous. So I didn't bring that. I decided to bring the AeroPress Go, but maybe one day when I get the space to do it, I'll do it. And the reason that I didn't do it on that flight Frankfurt to Chicago was just because it was just dark, and I was like, we were late already. Everyone's irritated. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that puckery bitterness, right, has kind of toned down now that it's or either that or I've gotten more used to it. This would be nice with a donut, I think. Like my sister-in-law called me yesterday. She's like, hey, would you like some donuts? We're ordering some donuts from a place called Blondie's here in Baltimore. And the last time they got donuts, I tried one of their glazed. They're just plain glazed. And they had this little, it's got great like yeasty, chewy texture with this. It's not too heavy on the sugar, but it's also got this light, faint lemoniness through it. Man, it was so good. I was like, all right, let me order so I ordered I don't know what I ordered. One of them has like, those strawberry shortcake popsicles, right? And the topping they have on it, that crumbly strawberry topping. Well, imagine a glazed donut like that, covered with that. So I ordered one of those, ate that, had the coffee. That would go great with this. Oh my. It could be, but we won't go there. Yes. Oh, the mini hockey stick. Yes, I'll show that one. That's a good one. Yeah, that's actually the cool thing I thought besides the little like 20 filter holder, 20 count filter holder, I thought this was pretty cool. Like they should put this with the regular AeroPress kit. But like you're saying, the hockey stick. So this is the bet. Like they have this other stir with the main one, and it's this big, bulky, ugly thing. This is much nicer. Like it's kind of hockey puckish, but much more. And the little scoop's nice too. I like the scoop on it. Like I've used this a couple times myself. And this doubles as a cup, so you can brew it on top and drink, which is cool. I mean, I think of the brewing devices, it's pretty cool. Oh, also what I got from Gautam, since we're talking, well, let's go. We'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. I know we're already pushing now 24 minutes into our show, so let's go to the cigar. So, like I said earlier, I hadn't really done my homework for the show, which means that I haven't chosen the cigar. So I'm going into the official Livestream humidor. Thank you, Rusty. And I'm going to select something. I'll let you guys choose. I'll let you guys tell me what you want. So these I got from Widmer's in New Jersey. So the first one we have is the Just Some Crawl. This is the FDA. Come on. Oh, good Lord. Goodness. All right, anyway, Just Some Crawl. And then this one is the Dapper La Madrina Toro. Which is still not focusing. So here's the crazy thing. Like this is the camera that I took with me on Saudi, and it would focus. Oh, there we go. So we've got the Just Some Crawl, the La Madrina, or the Stallone. It's Stallone. I thought it was like Sylvester Stallone, but evidently it's something. And evidently this cigar is like supposed to be one of like, I think Cigar Journal's #1 cigar of 2021. So what do you guys think? What do you think? Any interesting? The Imperial Jade. No, I don't have any more Imperial Jades to use. So let me know what you think. And Yasmina says, I'm with you on the hand grinder situation. I might bring a middle Khalid and pre-ground. Yeah, I mean, I always bring pre-ground. If I'm going to make coffee with me, I'll actually pre-ground, because here's the thing. Like, people are always like, oh man, I need the best quality that I can get. Well, here's the thing. I've got great quality coffee. The quality part of coffee, we've got down, right? We all have down. So if I'm gonna travel, I want to be light as possible. And I have so much stuff with me already that I don't want to bring in more. And so the idea of bringing something like a Comandante with that weight of the Comandante is like ridiculous to me. But if you buy nice coffee and you grind it, it's still going to be better than anything that you could possibly get on the plane, in the hotel room. You know what I'm saying? Except though, when I went to Dubai, I stayed at the Indigo Hotel, which is an IHC property. And inside the restaurant, they actually had an outlet of the Cafe Rider. When, if you're not familiar, Cafe Rider is a specialty coffee company out of Dubai, and they have a really cool location in the Al Quaz industrial area that I always thought was cool. But so if you look it up, it's called Cafe Rider, and I think it's really, really nice. And so I didn't have any coffee from there because I was actually doing coffee touring already, so I didn't bother to have that. Now, Yasmin is also asking, like, what is the processing of the coffee? I don't know. I'm sure that Freddie told me. I'm sure he told me at one point when we were talking, but it doesn't have anything marking as far as the maybe Red Condor. I don't know Red Condor. Maybe that's a new type of hybrid or something, but it doesn't really say what the processing is. So I'm not sure. You're going to have to make that, Rusty. I think you have to make that. I think you should work on that this weekend. Yeah, exactly. It's called Blondies, Tony. If you want to order Blondies donuts. And Tony, Rusty's drinking the Diet Cherry Pepsi. Is that right? Oh, and Buddy wants to know if I have the Red Witch. There is 3 Red Witches in here. Actually, I have I've got a couple of the November Privada cigar farm rolled selection, but I'm not gonna. We've already done Privada, so all right. So Mark says it all. We're gonna do the Stallone. All right, Stallone it is. All right, Stallone. Now, when Barry Widmer was showing me around his humidor when we were up there for Rusty's chili challenge, I was like, "Oh, a Stallone," and Barry was like, "It's actually Stallone," and I was like, "Stallone? What?" It's like, I don't know if there was an affectation by the cigar company, especially since everybody knows Sly. So, and then they asked him, "Is it related to Sly?" And he's like, "No relation." I was like, "Oh, okay. All right, so let's have a look here at Whoa, wrong way. Share screen. All right, let's have a look at the Stallone cigars. I'm not too familiar. Oh, there's a guy. Oh, I guess the guy that makes it is Tony Barrios. Blender and owner Stallone. I'm guessing with this whole thing, he must be down in Texas. But this is the. What is this? Oh my gosh, I can't read. The Alazan Hab. Oh, here it is. Alazan Habano. There must be Alazan Habano. Oh, here it is. Alazan Habano. So Nicaragua, Habana, Ecuador, Brazil, Nicaragua, fillers, binders, wrappers. Must be made in Italy. All right, let's get to it. We'll worry about that later. Was this the last one that they had? Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I mean, oh, Adrian. So this is $6.80 at Widmer's. So it's supposed to be. Yeah. It was supposed. They said it was supposed to be one of the Stallone. What's it? Alazan Habano. Supposedly this was somebody's top cigar of 2021. That's part of the reason why I wanted to try it. But now that I'm looking on YouTube, I mean on what do you call it? Google, it doesn't seem to have. So how about the number one cigar? No, I don't know. You'd think that if they got number one somewhere, it would be all over the internet. Anyway. All right, so here it is. Stallone, Alazan Habano. And please focus. Here's the thing. Like sometimes I took this camera on the road, and there was times that I was using it, and it would focus on things in the foreground and not on the subjects. And now that I'm using this foreground thing, it doesn't want to focus. Forget it. It's got this cedar wrap. I'm going to take that off. Yeah, it's a little bit on the lighter side for sure. Well, actually, in person, it's not terribly light, but there we go, better. All right. It's time for the official cutting with the Cigar MTX tool. Oh, a little bit of cracking. Oh no. I wonder if the Bovedas are weakening or again losing power. A little bit of crack on that. Oh, that's too bad. All right, let's light it up. Got our little message here. So what are you guys smoking? Okay. Like I see that Rusty is smoking the Diet Cherry Pepsi. I actually had Diet Pepsi earlier today. I went to this Hawaiian restaurant in Arbutus, and that's all they had. All right. That could be. But here's the thing: this camera that I'm using the camera I'm using is the Sony ZV-1. It's supposed to have it has a setting where it's supposed to focus in on anything that you hold in front of it, right? Like it's if I do that, it's supposed to like lock in. Even though it's set to that, sometimes it doesn't. It's really kind of. But let's see. Oh, maybe you're right. Look at that. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's. Huh? Maybe you're right. Yasmina bring some science on us. All right, I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna use my big head to block the coffee sign behind me. Yeah. I know. All right, so starting off relatively, there's some spicy that Nicaraguan type of like black pepper spiciness. There's that there. That's kind of nice. So it's Robusto shape with a light. It's a light box press, right? Some cigars have the heavy box press. Come on. Trying to cover my eyes and the sun. So it's got a light box press to it, which is actually a nice. I like that the way that affects the draw. So it starts off with a nice black pepper spices, but it's not like I always have to compare to the Revenge. Like the Revenge is an explosion of flavor. This is not an explosion of flavor. This is nice black pepper, light spice, just coming on. Not bad. Not a nice way to begin. So Rusty says the local store had the Diet Cherry Pepsi, last 5. Oh, nice, dude. And Tony's having a Diesel Wicked Torpedo and a Diet Major Watermelon Mountain Dew. Man, where do you get these flavors, man? I was at the Giant yesterday, right? Doing some shopping. Actually, I was in the mood for fattoush salad, which is this Lebanese style salad with like fried pita and pomegranate molasses. So I'm buying like the ingredients, and it's just vegetables, right? Yeah, okay, maybe I bought a couple pieces, maybe bought a bread and something like that, and man, it was still like $30. I was like, my gosh, what the heck? It did not make me happy. But like I'm saying, like what I meant by that is that I never really noticed. Like actually, I don't really go to the soda aisle. They at the Giant, at the end cap, they have the Coca-Cola display for the cans, and like yesterday's deal was buy 2 12-packs, get 2 free. So I was like, oh, maybe I should get that. But I was like, oh no, I didn't. Rusty said, I had to pick up a new Vader packs earlier after my final day of school, so I indulged with an Arturo Fuente short story Hemingway. Nice, dude. So, Rusty, how long are you off for? Until past the new year? I guess that's how it is. And then Mark says, I bet Target has something. You know, I've only been to Target once since the pandemic started. And just a few weeks ago, I finally went back. For some reason, I didn't go. Actually, I went twice. Once to like, the first time I went was to get, because that time when that guy tried to steal my cart from on the far side of the store. Like, you know, I like to leave the cart. I like to leave the cart on the end caps, right? And then walk the aisle. Because I just feel unencumbered, right? And as I noticed this guy's driving away with my cart. I was like, hey, what are you doing, man? Why are you stealing my cart? I'm not stealing your cart. It's got my stuff inside the cart. And there's a bunch of stuff in the cart. I'm like, oh, dude, what is wrong with you? Oh, it turns out that's where the Major Melon came from. Okay. Major Melon. Ooh, this is getting spicier now. It's feeling more pepper forward. All right, the coffee's not bad. Not bad. All right, we should try some different beverage. All right, so Al stopped by earlier today, and for some reason he was very kind enough to come bearing gifts. So he brought me this. He's like, "Hey man, I made this for you. I just made it. I want you to give it a try." It's a half gallon of eggnog with a pint of liquor. So let's see. To be honest with you, I'm not really a big drinker of eggnog. Like, I don't know too much about eggnog. There we go. Look at that. And I don't know what this is going to do palate wise. Oh. Oh, Yasmin is asking, does the taste of the coffee change after you start smoking the cigar? No. The coffee does. I mean, the taste of coffee changes like it normally does. As it cools, it can develop or not develop. The way that it interacts with the flavors of the coffee, with the flavors of the tobacco, can sometimes we get pairings that are really nicely, really complementary, and sometimes they're not so complementary. But today, let's see. I better look at this really hard before I take a sip of this eggnog. There's definitely a fermentation to the coffee, a fermenty kind of flavor, character to it. So the fermenting and the bitterness, I think, clashes a little bit with the spicy and black pepper character of the cigar. Not that that's bad or good in any way. I mean, they are their own thing, and so I don't really get too worked up about that. But sometimes you get these pairings that are. Sometimes we'll find the right coffee to the right cigar, and it's really quite enjoyable. This one, not bad. But now, let's see this Alfred. Oh man, you can just smell it in the nose. It's really in the nose. This whole 60 pint of bourbon or whatever he used. It's very foamy at the top. Now I'm always trying to cover the light. Come to me. Come to me. Now it's focused. There we go. Look at that. It's a bit foamy. I should probably have a spoon or something. Ooh, nice. Eggnog for sure. Coquito. I'm not too familiar with coquito, but there's definitely a heavy foam cap. I kind of wish it was incorporated. You know what you should do with this? Run this through oh, I can feel that. I might be sleeping before we finish the show. Oh, that's the best way to have it. Nice eggs. That's why you can't smell those eggs, because of the liquor. Oh my gosh, I really should not be drinking this. But here's the thing: eggs, cream, sugar, with cigar. Darn it. So it just fell off. That's a little bit disappointing. But, not as clashy as I expected it to be. Now there's a bit of, somewhere there's a bit of like brightness on the palate, but yes, I probably will have to sleep. Is he there with you? It's quite good, actually. It's really quite enjoyable. Oh, but like I was saying, I would love to, like, after tasting it, it'd be kind of awesome to run this through like a soft serve machine. Or make it like a milkshake. Although I'm sure that the all right. Oh, you're no Al. Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Actually, it's not bad. The Stallone as whatever it is, Alazan Habano. Nice. Actually enjoyable. And $6.80. That's an enjoyable price. Like today, I was at Tobacco Leaf. Sorry, I was making deliveries out in that part of the county, and so I was stopped by Tobacco Leaf, saw Raul, picked up cigars for like probably going to last us until the end of February, and I'm looking at this one. I think it was the Stillwell, and I was looking at it, I said it was like $16.95 for the Stillwell, and I was like, what's the deal with the Stillwell? He's like, well, that's the new one from Steve Saka. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. $16.95 makes sense. But I did get an Umbagog that was $9.50. Still a bit on the pricey stuff, but not bad. But the Umbagog, that was for my personal smoking. Like I buy a bunch of cigars for the show, and then I don't have anything to smoke during the week. So I do have to find a couple things to smoke just for myself. So what are you guys all been doing this week? What are you guys doing tomorrow? Like tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Last year was interesting, the first year of the show, because of course, Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday, so that was to be expected. But then both Christmas and New Year landed on Thursdays. And so that was kind of fun. Like on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, we were doing the show. This year, not the same. But the pretty good. So I did a bit of smoking when I was away. So in Riyadh, one of our friends, one of our judges, who I've known since 2017, when I first met, his name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed. And Ahmed was, I first met him because he actually flew to Istanbul in 2017 when I was running the competition there, because he wanted to judge. He was like, I want to judge. I was like, all right, well, come join us. And so ever since then, he's been a great friend. And so he knows that I like cigars. And one of our other judges, Ryan Wilbur from Portland, Oregon, who I brought out also, he also enjoys cigars. So Ahmed was like, oh, I will arrange for us to go for cigars with the CEO of my company, because his CEO is a member of this this cigar club called La Vida. Excuse me. And La Vida is actually, it's actually the part of Riyadh that's not too far from the hotel. So we went out there, really, really nice, posh club. It's built, it was probably built in like the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. It has that kind of look to it, but really nice leather seats. Everything's really comfortable. Everyone, they take good care of you, you know, all Havanas. So I ended up smoking the Hoy de Monterrey Epicure Especial, which was a really enjoyable cigar. You know, much lighter in body and strength than I'm used to, but very enjoyable. Nonetheless, smooth, nice complexity. And then when I was in Dubai, you know, the last time I was in Dubai, Gautam and I went out. We went to this place called Room 108, which is in the kind of what they call Buru Dubai, which means New Dubai. But Buru Dubai, the district was built, like I think in the 90s. So then in the 90s, it was new. That's why they call it Buru Dubai. Today in 2021, it's now the old Dubai. But they still call it Buru Dubai. Anyway, we went down there, got to the place. Turns out they're under renovation, so it was closed. I was like, oh man. So he's like, all right, let's go. We went out, got back in the car, drove out to, and actually he's got a cool vehicle. He's got the 2017 Nissan Patrol reissue. So if you're familiar, there's a Nissan Patrol, and it's never been released in the United States. The closest thing they did is they brought the 2020, or one of the more modern versions of it. They did brand it as the Armada here in the United States, but the old school one in the 90s was like this super like cool looking. Actually, let me look it up here. Oops. So here it is. Oops. This is the 90s era Nissan Patrol, which I just love. I've always, since it was out, like my friend's uncle in the Philippines had one back in those days, and I just always loved them. I thought they were awesome looking, and they're really capable off-road, like probably Nissan's best off-road vehicle they've ever built. Now they had a new reissue in, I think, 2017. No, see here, this is the one that came as the Armada, right? But there was another one. How about retro? Maybe it's under retro. I don't know. Anyway, I can't find it. I don't know. But Gautam has this car, and it's pretty cool. And and we were driving around in it. So it's this old school looking Patrol, but it's got new technology in it. Right? It's all modern, which is pretty neat. And so we drove over to we went to a couple other hotels. The Hyatt, I think, was there. They had a lounge. Their lounge was closed. We went to another place. Their lounge was closed. So finally, we ended up at the Four Seasons. Four Seasons? Yeah, the Four Seasons. Oh, I think we went to the Ritz-Carlton first. Their lounge was closed. We went to the Four Seasons. Their lounge was open. It's all the way at the top, 13th floor of their building. It's this rooftop place, and you get there, elevator opens, and there's this big, burly, like African dude who's like the bouncer, and you're like, oh my gosh. And there's this it's like pumping, like it's pumping up there, and girls are just like, holy God, like they're like amazing. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is not the place. This is not the place for us. We're just like some schleppy looking dudes, right? And so on the main level, the 13th floor, there's a bar, like a bar scene, like a heavy duty, like see and be seen kind of bar scene where everybody's all beautiful and sexy and like, you know. And then you can go upstairs to the cigar lounge, which is separate. And so we went. They're like, "Do you have a reservation?" We do not. Well, we'd like to have a cigar. Oh, well, you come right up this way. So they let us up. Beautiful place. Like I sent you guys some. I sent some of the guys some pictures. Really, really gorgeous, like posh kind of like place. So we sat there, had some cigars. I was gonna try the Romeo and Julieta wide Churchill, or short Churchill. They were out of those, so we ended up with the Monte Cristo number 2 petite, Monte Cristo Petit number 2, and very nice cigar. Had some rum. Actually, they didn't have a really great rum selection, so I ended up with a Methuselah 15-year on the rocks. But one of the interesting things they had there was this condiment of, like, it was basically dark chocolate covered roasted hazelnuts. And I know I'm not really one that's into chocolate with so much with the cigars, but those turned out really well. Like, I really enjoyed them. So Tony says, hopefully smoke a rack of pork. So what's the new smoker you got here? So tell us more about the new smoker. I'm interested to know. Omicron? No, Omicron. Actually, that's an interesting thing. So we're in Riyadh. And one of the interesting things about Riyadh is that of course, it's an absolute monarchy. So the idea of like this whole like questioning what the government tells you to do doesn't really exist there. Not like America. Like America, you know, everybody's into their own thing. But there, no, you can't do that. That's not allowed, which is much better because here we are. You get to Saudi, and everyone that arrives in Saudi, in order for you to travel to the kingdom, you must have the vaccine, at least 2 doses, and you must have had a PCR COVID test that labels you clean. And then when you get there, you have to like sign up to this app, and the app is called the Tawakana. And the Tawakana app is actually something that's used by all people in Saudi Arabia. And it's really interesting because it's all of their like licenses and like car registration, house registration, insurances is all in this app. And when you look at a local Saudi person's app, it's much more complicated than the one that they give to tourists. But the interesting thing about it is that you've got this. This is the main screen. This is my main screen, right? And as you can see, the green bar says immune. Now, if you want to go anywhere in the kingdom, you want to go to the mall, you want to go to the stores, you want to go to the coffee shop, you want to go to the exhibition hall, you must show this, and you must have it green. And if you don't show it, you don't have it green, you're not going to be let in. So unless you like follow what they tell you, you just don't get to do anything, which I thought was an interesting way to do it. And plus, it also tracks exposure. So if you happen to be exposed to someone with COVID, it'll tell you. And my God, if it turns red, you're kind of hosed. I was like, oh my gosh, gotta be careful. But you go to Dubai, and Dubai's got this other app, right? While Saudi, they're super like hardcore about it. Like you have to use it at all times. Saudi has the DXB C19 smart app, which is this one, right? And you kind of use it, but nobody really uses it. Like I was never questioned about it. Like nobody ever asked me about it. So, and everybody there wears masks. Like it's really interesting. Like Dubai, you're wearing masks everywhere. Everybody wears it, which is good because like nobody asks for this, like the Tawakana in Saudi. So you don't really know. Plus, they've got much more tourists coming in from all over the world. So it was kind of interesting like that. So Tony's got the RecTech 1250. All right, let's look that up. RecTech 1250. So is this bigger than the one you have before already, or is this a replacement? Looks interesting. Mm. 36-inch deck. Isn't that kind of... So it's about the same size, but is that because you replaced the other one, or this is in addition? That looks interesting. The RecTech difference. Let's see the RecTech difference. Oh, they're horns. Oh, that's funny. I love that. They look cool. Yeah, I do love the horns. I think that is very cool. Replacement. Okay. When are you going to come get that other one? I've got that other one here for you. But you got to come get it soon, because until it goes away, then there's always the chance that Lisa comes gets it again. All right, let's have some more of Al's elixir. I can kind of feel it. I do feel it. So Mark's asking, is the competition brand Traeger? You mean the competition to the RecTech, yes? Or you mean Traeger as a competition smoker? What has a complete stainless steel? Oh, nice. Actually, for me, man, it's just the horns. I'd buy it for the horns. Like, oh, I love the horns. And actually, the price point it was $1,500. That's not bad. Or at least it doesn't seem like that too much. Actually, I think I need to tear my smoker apart, because I think the last time I was using it, there were some problems with the auger. Like, I think I need to rebuild the auger. You know what? How about the Egg Nog? Oh, not bad. Oh, yes, as an alternative to RecTech. Yeah. I'm the Traeger. I think Tony had the Traeger before. Is that right, Tony? Your previous one was the Traeger? The smoker that I have is actually has a Traeger auger control system, but it's not a Traeger manufacturer. The Pits and Splits out of Texas. Oh, let's see that. Pits and Spits. Is that the name, Pits and Spits? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Pits and Spits. The best looking. I mean, the Ultimate Smoker Pit 30, or the stainless steel Maverick 1250. Look at that thing. That's crazy. That's $4,500. plus shipping. It's probably like $700-800 just in shipping alone. Ooh, pneumatic wheels. That's cool. How much does it weigh? Had a Traeger replacing Louisiana grill. Oh, you had a Traeger first, and then you had the Louisiana? Whoops. Whoops. Louisiana. Lord. LG 1100. No, thank you. LG 800, LG. Oh, good Lord. Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait, the brand, so Skip has the pits and spits. Yeah, that makes sense. It's from Texas. Yeah, Mark, mine comes from Oklahoma. I've got the Fast Eddie 100 by a company called Cook Shack. I think they're in Oklahoma. So this is the one that I have. Mine's pretty old now. We got it back in 2004. And actually, the reason that I have this one, it's actually a competition smoker that's pellet driven. And this particular model now has the super high tech controller, right? So it's got digital controller with digital temperature probes, and put the probes in the meat, and it'll like roast, it'll smoke up to that point where the for your meat. But mine has the very simple controller that you see on most consumer model smokers today. Just a real simple like rotary dial that says, set the temperature 275 or whatever you want. And I got this way back when we actually had a barbecue business. So we actually and my partner and I ended up with two of them, because this is rated to have like 40 racks of pork ribs, of like baby back ribs. So we actually had an event. We did the Artscape one year, and we're trying to cook on this thing, loaded up with 40 racks. And this thing, you're supposed to cook your your ribs in like 4 to 5 hours. This thing took like 16 hours to bring it to temperature. And we're like, what the hell happened to this thing? And so my partner was the pit master, and he was the one that was in touch with Cook Shack. And they were like, and he was like, hey man, it says you could do 40 racks. You can't do it. And they're like, well, it's supposed to do 40 racks. And turns out they had never tested it by that point. And so they did their own test with it. They got the same result we did, right? So they couldn't get it to work. So my partner bitched at them, and they sent us a second one. So when we shut that business down, each of us got a smoker. And I was like, oh, all right, I got a cool smoker. I don't know if you could do that. I think it's much more expensive than that. Let's see here. Replacement parts. I thought I looked it up on. Yeah, see, here's, that's not the one. PA16. No, that's just the cover. Yeah, see, here's the conversion kit. It's much more expensive than $50. That's why I never did it. Plus, I don't know if I really need to have all of that technical control. Like it's kind of like I learned how to do it without it. So I don't know if I'm not so committed to spend that kind of, basically this is the price of the smoker you just bought. So I'm like, oh, no. I'm too cheap for that. Too cheap. Maybe in the next lifetime. So let's move to the mailbag, which isn't really the mailbag this time. It's more like the gift bag. So this is actually not a gift for me. It was actually a gift for Brian. So Brian called me up. He's like, hey, I got this gift. I thought it might make a good unboxing video. So I was like, all right, let me give it a try. I'll use it. So here it is. This is the Ember. The Ember is a temperature-controlled smart mug version 2. So what this is, it's basically, I think it's USB driven. So you plug it into the wall, you charge the phone, and it's supposed to hold temperature for you for 8 hours. It will hold temperature with heating your coffee. And I was like, huh, that sounds kind of crazy. So as you can see, this packing comes from Costco. You know, they have this ridiculous frack pack. So we're going to get into it. Whoa. As I poke my eye with this razor knife. Come on, baby. All right, there it is. So now here we are, the Ember. The Ember temperature control mug, 14 ounces. Now here's the thing. This thing is $100. $100. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. It's temperature matters. Whoops. Clay Alexander says temperature matters. Temperature makes all the difference between delicious and disappointing. Ember's precise control means your drink is at the perfect temperature for you from the first sip to the last. Go this way. Keep your drink hot. Set your preferred drinking temperature. Start with 135 and adjust from there. 80 minutes of battery. Oh, 80 minutes. I thought it was 8 hours. Okay, not 80 hours, 80 minutes. Control with the smartphone. Set your temperature. Oh, you see, it has app friendly. Safe to hand wash. So don't put it in the dishwasher. And then the other side has a few degrees better. A few degrees can make a different taste. Blah, 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 blah. Pour, adjust, enjoy. So Brian and I were talking about it. So he said, you could do an unboxing video. I was like, oh, that's cool. But as we're talking about this thing, I was like, you know, maybe I'll make a longer video for the channel about this and see what it can do. So yesterday we're talking about it, and I kept thinking 8 hours. And I was like, that's awesome. Like 8 hours would be awesome. 80 minutes. Oh, darn it. Which is good. I mean, gosh, are you really going to take 80 minutes to drink your coffee? All right, so let's cut open it again. So it's got this sleeve around it, kind of like the old Apple computer camera eyesight. That's what it is, the eyesight. So I'm going to cut into it here. Remove the... Oh, I got the box. Sorry, Brian. I got the box a little bit, but I was a little bit zealous. So there's slight slices on it. My apologies. So Buddy's saying, Ember then maintains your chosen drinking temperature with the 80 minutes with the built-in battery or all day, including the charging coaster. It doesn't want to come out. It's got very Apple-esque like stickers on it. Look at that. Oh, super tight. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to use that in the center of the box while I push the... There we go. Whoa. So the box is split somewhere in there. Oh, because there's a label. There's a sticker. Okay, so that comes off finally. Ooh, orange. All right, here we are. Ember. So it's got these little things to. There's two of them. That was part of it. It was kind of sticky on the. Ember. Ooh. Oh, it's metal. Or something like Ember. Look at that. Nice. Stylish black. Charge before use. So it must be using induction charging here at the bottom. That's what I'm going to guess. Oh, maybe not. Oh, so there's a cover here. This sticker has, oh, these rings. Okay, there we go. So those rings will, so inside here's the charging plate. It says don't get wet. But those rings here attach to that. So they touch those contacts and then charge from there. So I'll have to charge this. Oh, but kind of handsome looking. Yeah, it is pretty sexy. I think it is pretty sexy. Look at that. Let's see what else they have in here. So here's the inside. This comes out. Whoa. There's a card of some sort. So that's right. This way. Ooh. Some little product card to show you what to do, how to do it. Welcome to the dream come true. Oh, and stickers. Nice. Actually, that's kind of cool, actually. I dig it. Actually, I gotta say, I was a bit skeptical, like this idea of like $100 for this like heated cup, but now that I'm unpackaging, I think it's kind of exciting. I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. And so inside here, we've got our charging cable. Oh, and it has this type of DC barrel connector. Okay. So that goes in here. Then we'll plug it in. And start charging it. All right, cool. So my idea for this, as we were talking about it, is that I'm going to make a video for the channel about the thing. And I was thinking, okay, so what can we do to test it? Like, yeah, we could brew coffee and put it in there and let it and do the temperature thing. But I was thinking might be very cool to take this thing, right? My plan is that if it can hold 135 upwards of 146 degrees Fahrenheit. So once Brian was telling me that, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do with this thing. I'm going to take some ghee, I'm going to melt it down, put it in here, turn the heat on, drop in some steak, and I'm going to sous vide this steak in this mug and see if it turns out. Because I'm also wondering, like, will it be able to hold the temperature? Because, of course, it's very open here on top, right? So how much energy will it expend? Like, there's no lid for it. So whatever energy you're heating it with, of course, the heat is dissipating through the top. So I don't know. we're talking about it yesterday. I was like, oh, that would be kind of fun to try. So that's the plan. I got to work on that this week. And Mark says, I drink a cup from my Carter mug for 80 minutes. The Carter mug, is that I don't know about that. Carter mug. Ooh. Oops. Oh, the fellow. Oh, my cigar has gone out, so let's relight. I'm going to use the Cirillo technique if I have gas. I don't have. Oh, come on. Okay, great. All right, let's see. Carter mug. So is that just insulated or is it? Oh, it's just insulated. Okay. Oh, nice. And $30. So that's much more pocket friendly. Then you got multiple sizes, 12 and 16 ounce. Plus it's got a lid, a locking cap, which helps. For the past year, I've been using the Corksicle. Like my niece and nephew gave me the Darth Vader Corksicle thermal mug. And actually, it's kind of funny. I was reflecting on it just earlier today, and I was like, I'm not really a thermal person. I mean, I don't really, I really didn't use them. But this one they gave me, I was like, all right, I'll try using it. And actually, I used it all year. So far, I've used it all year. And it's been actually really cool. Like, I've actually enjoyed it. I was really surprised. Yeah, you can't cook steak. Well, yeah, because it would be, well, then again, if you could get the steak, if you get the temperature, internal temperature to be at 100, let's say 140, and you would like have some time to cascade, and you could hold it for 80 minutes, you should be able to cook a piece of steak in it if you can hold that temperature. Like, of course, in this mug, it's 12 ounce, it's a 14 ounce mug. I'm not thinking that it's not, of course, it's not going to be a big piece. What I'm thinking about doing is actually getting a ribeye, carving off the cap, putting that sucker in there and seeing what it'll do. Or I get like a little like lobster tail. Oh, it's ceramic coat on the inside. Oh, I'm surprised they don't show the image on the inside of the. Fellow makes some nice products. I know a lot of people like the Fellow stuff. The kettle kind of irritated me though. I was using the kettle to do a cupping the other week. This Stag, this one, and I might have talked about it, but there's a Gickler reducer here at the bottom that controls the water flow through the neck, and that just kind of irritated me because when we're pouring for cupping, I like to pour very hard so that the water sloshes around and gets all the coffee wet as it's rising. But this one, because of the restrictor, it pours so slowly that I just thought it was very frustrating to use. And I get it, like people like to have that because it helps them to control the for pour over brewing. But I don't know, if you're a barista, you should be able to control the pour with your skills, with your ninja brewing skills. And Yasmina says, I have 2 Carter mugs, different sizes, and both don't fill them. Oh, well, that sucks. Okay, that if you're making a product that doesn't fit into a standard cup holder in your car, that's some weak sauce right there. That's weak sauce. Like the I have to say, like the Corksicle one that I have, it just barely fits in one of them, right? Like in the main one that I have in my Tacoma, it just barely fits. Like, actually, I don't really like to leave it there because it feels a little bit wobbly. So I put it in the secondary one that's forward of the shifter. That's much bigger, and it's all like super secure there. But actually, that's what pissed me off about Chick-fil-A, and I think that's why I stopped going there recently, because Chick-fil-A used to have those styro cups, right? Those old school styro cups with the double stage cylinders, right? And then they changed these paper ones like you get from the that you get at the movie theater that don't fit in anything. Man, those suck. I hate those. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. They seem like a nice. That seems like a nice one. Yeah, but you'd think that they would make, stuff that would fit in a car. I mean, that's especially in modern times. It's not like this is not like 2001. It's like 2021, right? I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying. So I got a couple other things. I should show you. I'll show you. Let me see what I got here. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm hanging out in Dubai, and with Gautam. So I'm at his shop, his warehouse, and I tell you what, I'm going to include that in one of the videos coming up from the trip. But if it comes to brewing supplies for coffee, he's got everything. Like it's ridiculous. Like you're like, oh my gosh. Like Yasmina, you were with us at Sulalat, right? So it's like Sulalat but smaller, right? Like more compact, but everything. So instead of having this massive 10,000 square foot store that has everything everywhere, like a big monster Apple store, this is like a real tiny kind of like everything's like jammed in together. But as I'm there, I noticed this thing that one of our friends, like Rusty's friends with him too, had developed. Pete, guy named Pete Nakata. So Pete developed this thing called the V60 drip assist from Hario. And I was like, oh, because I did a video about these coming out, but like I didn't have one to try. And so I just kind of, said that there's video about it. And so Gautam had this one, and I was like, oh, dude, that's kind of interesting. Let me look at that. And so he had this, and then he had these things called Cigarist, which are these specialty coffee paper filters. And what does it say? It's very low. So it has very low retention that gives you fast extraction, allowing to use finer grind to reach newer flavors. So the big thing now is like it seems that they want to go. A lot of baristas want to go really, really fine and really, really fast, like 2-minute brews at really, really low temperatures, like 84 degrees instead of like 90, 94. So it's like, whoa, crazy. I don't know about that, but whatever. But I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I think, I don't know, these are not cheap. Like compared to like the regular V60 filters or the regular Malia style filters, these are pretty expensive. I think this is like $5 for 25 filters. He normally has the W60, but he did not have any in stock because I was asking about that. So I was like, hey, man. So I said to Gautam, I said, hey, man, can I buy something from you? Can I buy these two from you, please? And he's like, yeah, of course. Then he starts getting my bag together, and he's like, okay, here, take this thing called the Zero, which I still don't really know what. He showed me what it was, but now I don't remember. I think it has to do with water. Oh, it's a press. It's a coffee press. And then he also, here, try this fellow shimmy, this coffee sieve. So you like put the coffee in here and you sieve it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, how much are you? He's like, we can settle tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow? What are we talking about? So he's very generous. My Gautam's very generous. I was like, oh, all right, dude, thank you. Very kind. So I'm gonna follow up later with some videos about these because I think these are interesting. What I'm planning to do, Rusty, is I'm gonna ask Pete. I gotta ask Pete to like, hey man, make me a little video about how am I really supposed to use this? Like you put it on top of your V60 and it's supposed to like control the way it drips or something. I don't know, but it's supposed to be something like that, which seems kind of interesting. But I figured, maybe get the master to show us exactly how to do it. Inshallah. Maybe not tomorrow. Actually, that's something that I think Yasmina will get. But like, there's a big thing we're talking about in the Middle East, right? So in Saudi, so there's a saying they use called inshallah, right? And technically it's inshallah, right? Which means that by the will of God. And so it's kind of used in a general sense, like let's say you're like, you want to go do something. Hey, like you're talking to your friend, like, hey man, like if I said to Bud, be like, hey Bud, we're gonna go ride the boat tomorrow. And Bud could be like, yeah, we'll ride the boat tomorrow, inshallah. Right? Inshallah, meaning that yes, we'll go do it, God willing. And depending on and so over the years that I've been going to the Middle East, I've heard this used many times, and I've heard people give me lots of examples of like how it's being used. But one of the big things that the Westerners are always like when they're talking to like Arab guys, they're like, let's say you have a meeting tomorrow. Like let's say with Bud, right? We're like, hey Bud, we're gonna go let's go boating tomorrow at 10 a.m. You're like, inshallah. We'll go tomorrow at 10 a.m. inshallah. Which means that maybe you'll go or maybe you won't. Like it may not happen. If it does, great. If he shows up, okay, good. If he shows up at 2 p.m., that's still okay. So it's like, oh, okay, great. So finally we're hanging out one night with a bunch of the guys, the local guys, and I was like, hey man, so tell us more about this inshallah and how it's used, right? Because I hear some people say inshallah, some people say shallah, some people say inshallah, and then they were like telling us like, the part of it's also like how long the inshallah is, right? So inshallah means, if you say inshallah, it's very like, it's kind of like, okay, we're definitely on it. But the longer it gets, the less definitive it will be. So if he'd say, hey, bud, are we going to do let's go, can we go on the boat tomorrow? Maybe we'll go on the boat tomorrow, inshallah. So if you go really long, it pretty much means no. It's kind of like a nice way to be like, maybe not. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. The mellow drip. I don't even know what that is. Let me look that up. Mellow drip. That's the kind of sad thing. I'm a little bit behind in all of this technology. Mellow drip. Oh, I see. Okay. Mellow drip coffee tools. Whoa. See, here's the thing, like that I like about this thing from Pete, this porous drip assist. It's like, look at this. Okay, so you get the mellow drip, but you've got to use now two hands. So one to hold the mellow, one to hold the I don't know if I want to do that. Like that just seems a little bit more like this one you just put on top of it and I guess pour. But interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen them in the US either. I was hoping someone would have it, but yeah, and I was hoping they would have the W60 as well, but yeah, I can. Tricolette. I'm not familiar with Tricolette either. Tricolette. Oh, I think I've seen this. Oh, $75. Whoa. What makes the Tricolette different? Eliminates uneven input while spraying. Oh, this is the one that's kind of like AeroPressy, right? Is there a way to use it? Let's see, buy now. Oh, it doesn't show. That's actually not too funny because I've actually got a bunch of like orders from Baratza for Baratza grinders that people have ordered on our website that won't be released until like maybe the middle of January at this point. That's if the ship can finally get a berthing in LA or in San Pedro. So who knows? That's terrible. And one of the guys I was talking to, so it was actually Freddie. So Freddie at Grandmother's. Where'd it go? Yeah, Freddie from Grandmother was telling me, we're talking about shipping, and he was like, so it's really interesting. Like here in the United States, like when I'm buying coffee from origin, I am actually working with different different partners, meaning that like my friends own a company called Zoka in Seattle, and another one owns a company called Cafe Lodger. And so a lot of the buying that I'm doing in Central America is with those guys. So we're going down there, we're visiting farms, and then we're consolidating our orders on containers. So while the two of their companies, like let's say in El Salvador, will take up most of the container, like so a typical 40-foot container will hold 275 bags of coffee, and each bag of coffee is 152.32 pounds. And so let's say they'll take up, I don't know, 250, their orders will take up 250 bags. So mine will be like the other like 10 to 20 bags. So there's a lot of cooperation, or I'll work with like different like importers to consolidate the coffees that I want to buy from my farmers with their shipments. So there's a lot of that kind of cooperation. But evidently in Dubai, there's not really that kind of thing. So Freddie was telling me that he was like in Colombia, he'll buy coffee, but for them, maybe they only need to buy 2 pallets worth, which is 20 bags. So one pallet holds 20 bags. One pallet holds 10 bags, so 2 pallets. So in the past, they've always bought their own container. And in the past, the 40-foot container, even for whether, and I guess that he was telling me for the price for Dubai, which is about the same price as the United States. So I guess it's not terribly different. But a 40-foot container costs you about $3,000 before. And that'll bring you there. So, of course, you're when you have 275 bags, the cost per bag is much better. Like, for example, let's say 27. Oops. I need to get a calculator that works in these lighting conditions. So you got $3,000. Divide that by 275. So it costs you $11 per bag to ship, right? Which breaks down to pennies, and because now you're dividing that by 152.32. So per pound, it costs you 7.16 cents per pound. So it's not terrible, right? But now the container, he was telling me their container cost now from Colombia is $12,000. So it's like exponentially more. So now you've got, so before, for their cost, 3,000 divided by 20 bags is $150 a bag. Holy God. Now, at $12,000, their cost is $600 a bag. And you break that down by 152.32, that's $3.94 per pound extra. So let's say your coffee is, like these guys are buying really nice coffee. So let's say they're buying coffee at $5.30. They're paying like almost their cost is almost $10 a pound green. And then I'm thinking, wow, God. So hopefully the price of shipping will come down over time. And Mark says he's a glass April brewer. Oh man, that sucks, dude. I saw those at Gautam had some April brewers. They're kind of cool. I thought they're kind of interesting. I also got to see some of those other ones. April, what's the one that's camellia looking one? The one who makes that one? I worked with the guys from April a couple years ago. I was doing I was overseeing the Danish roasting championships, and actually the roaster from April won. They're pretty nice guys. All right, let's see. April Porver Brewer. Oh, yeah, there it is. Well, hopefully it'll get here soon. So, Mark, how's yours? I know, Mark, you've been getting more into the brewing thing. How's that coming along? Have you come up with any like surefire winning solutions? Yeah, so I got a lot of stuff here to play around with, and so I shot a lot of footage in Saudi Arabia. That, man, it's interesting stuff to see. Like, I've already edited 4 videos. One of them has been released. So the first one was about just the basic journey there, and then like just showing the hotel room, which is, kind of, I think some people might be interested in that. And then the next one is about I went to the National Museum of Saudi Arabia, which is really quite fascinating because it's this massive museum that chronicles the Arabian Peninsula from essentially the creation of the universe through prehistoric times, through the time of Muhammad, the prophet, his journey from Mecca to Medina and becoming the prophet and becoming, and then the beginning of Islam, and then moving on into the 2 types of kingdoms, finally the Saud leadership, and then modern times, oil. And then there's actually this really interesting section of the museum about Islam that really shows the Mecca, and it talks about the Hajj and the 2 mosques that are there. And it's interesting because like Mecca is a city, like you guys probably know of Mecca. Mecca is like the holy city for Muslims, but it's also restricted to Muslims. Like as a non-Muslim, you cannot enter the country. You cannot enter the city. Like they actually have I think you actually show papers when you try to get in. And so it's only for Islam, only for Muslims. And turns out that if you go and you're caught as a non-Muslim, you get fines and deportation and a lifetime ban from the country. But what I thought was interesting about this museum is that they actually have this really massive model of the mosque that has the Kaaba. And the Kaaba, if you've seen it, is that black cube that you see people walking around, right? And actually, when you see the video of it, like in Saudi and the Middle East, they actually have these 24-hour channels that are basically just cameras watching the Kaaba, and you can see all the pilgrims making their journey, their duhur, and evidently it's called duhur outside of the Hajj. Like the Hajj is only this particular time of the year, the last month of the Islamic calendar, which it follows the lunar calendar. So it doesn't match with our Gregorian calendar exactly every year. So it's always changing. Like the Hajj coming in 2022 is like in the middle of July for like 7 days. And it's really quite an interesting journey because you have to not just go to the Kaaba, walk around it counterclockwise 7 times, but you have to go back and forth between these 2 mountains, or you have to go back and forth between these 2, I think they're 2 mountains, but they have a big hallway for it now. So you go back and forth several times. Then you have to go to the top of this other mountain somewhere else outside of the mosque area. Then you have to come back down and go back to the Kaaba, do 7 more times, and that's pretty much it. Then you have to do that all on foot within the time of the Hajj, within this 4 to 5 day period. So it's really, really kind of arduous. But otherwise it's called duhur, and I think it's called duhur. And you can go anytime, but these cameras show people doing it all the time. So it's like 24/7. You see these people walking around the Kaaba. It's really kind of fascinating, actually. But the nice thing about this museum is that it shows you it has this big model of the mosque, and there's 2 mosques, right? The main one that has the Kaaba and the other one, and these super high detailed models. So it's kind of cool because it's like the only way that someone like myself, it's like as close as I'll ever get to go to Mecca, unless I become Muslim. So Mark says, great. Oh, the brewing is growing. 10-minute AeroPress. 10-minute AeroPress. All right, I'm not familiar with this. Tell us more about this 10-minute AeroPress and how it's done. I'm curious. I'm presuming that if you hold, now that it's cooled down, it's got really, really bitter. Maybe the way to enjoy that is to mix it with the that's kind of nice, actually. Kind of reminds me of that that coffee milkshake they make at Chick-fil-A with more of a kick. Another thing I got from the trip was I got this app because we're scheduling the competition, and of course we're in Saudi Arabia, so we have to like be very aware of the different prayer times, because in Islam they pray 5 times a day. One at sun up, like right before sunrise, so like right around 5, like the first half hour of 5 a.m. And then there's one at like 10:30, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m. I think that's how it goes. But I get this app. It's called Islam Pro. Is that what it's called? And it's kind of neat because what really I downloaded because I needed to have to know when the different ones. So here we are. You can see here here's the different times for it: Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. So these are the times of the prayer for tomorrow. So as you can see, 5:11, sunset 6:34, sunrise 6:34. Dhuhr is at 11:53, 2:52 for Asr, 5:12 for Maghrib, and Isha is at 6:42. So it kind of like it tells you when it's going to be, and actually, if you set it, it'll actually go off, and like you can even choose, like say for Dhuhr, I can choose the different types of call to prayer. So, for example, the problem is this is the free version, so it always has like different types of like a lot of ads. Actually kind of irritating, but you can choose the different types of call to prayer. So kind of interesting in that respect. All right, so Brian's asking, since there are different types of Muslims, can any get into the space? My understanding is yes. So even though that, and I don't really know the big differences, there's the big sects are Sunni and Shia, and Saudi is mainly a Sunni country, whereas someplace like Iran is more Shia. And I don't know really the difference. I believe what I've heard in the past is that, so there's the Quran, which is their main book, and then there's something called the Hadith, which is kind of like the addendum to the Quran. I believe, and I could be completely wrong, that the Sunnis believe they also will follow the Hadith, but the Shias, I think they don't follow the Hadith. Like they don't believe that is part of it. The interesting thing that I found over the years of, since I'm in Saudi Arabia, I learn more. I learn a bit about Islam every time I go. Is that Jesus is a big part of the Quran, and I looked up the stats on it one day, and it's like, evidently Jesus is talked about 45 times throughout the Quran. So, and if you talk to Muslims, they're very familiar with Jesus and Mary, and the whole story of Jesus and who he was and what he did, and evidently a lot of the stories of Jesus in the Quran match what the stories we have in the Bible, in the gospel. So it's very fascinating in that respect, that there's so much sharing of beliefs. Like we have like Allah, the God, is the same God. So Allah, the God that Muslims worship, is the same God that Christians worship. And then a lot of this comes from what someone's telling me. A lot of it tends to be driven by politics, and that, like you hear these people talk about, like the saying of Islam, that, what is it? I don't, I'm probably getting it wrong, but basically it's basically Allah, only Allah is the true God. And that's been kind of like twisted in that, saying that God is different, that Christian God is the God that they're saying is different than Allah. But really, when they talk about it, when you talk to Muslims, it's like, no, it's the same God. They just call it Allah because that's the Muslim term for God. But the God that they talk about that is not Allah is actually, like people doing idolatry, worshiping other things. But Christian God and Muslim God is the same. So I thought that was just interesting. Brian says, Old Testament versus those of us that added the New Testament. It could be. It could very much be like that. I'm not really scholarly in either religions, Christianity or Catholicism and Islam. So actually, it's something one of my good friends from like college, when we were together in college, she was, just a regular Christian, and then she became Muslim somewhere along the way in the years that we weren't in touch. And now she's actually a scholar, like a multi-book published scholar. And she teaches Islamic studies at Western Kentucky University in Greenlawn, what was it called? Bowling Green. So I've always been wanting to the last time I saw her, I went to her wedding in Colorado, but wedding, you don't really get the time to talk like you'd like to. So I've been really wanting to talk to her, go hang out with her and really talk to her more about differences or similarities, because I think it's kind of fascinating. All right, so Mark says it's 18 by 260 ratio, recipe with Gagne, grind medium fine, about 900 microns, just based on astringency, very sweet, good clarity. So you're taking this 18-260 ratio, you're putting it, I'm presuming you're putting the inverted AeroPress, and you just let it steep for 10 minutes. Is that right? Oh yeah, very, very impressive. Coffee people are very, very impressive like that. So Brian's asking, if you're an employee, does prayer time count as your mandatory break? I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Saudi Arabia, because it is a Muslim country, and it is, I think part of the system there is based on Sharia law. The way that they manage it is that the 5 breaks, the 5 prayer times are mandatory. Basically, everything shuts down during those prayer times, right? So, for example, if you're at a business, and this has happened to us multiple times, we'll be in a coffee shop, right? Like the coffee shop, and we're hanging out there doing whatever. When prayer time comes, that coffee shop closes. And if you're there, if you're at the coffee shop where they let you stay, coffee shop closes and you have to stay. You cannot leave. It's closed. You can't leave. You can't come in, and you can't leave for that 15 minutes or half an hour that the prayer time that they give. Actually, I've got this video from 2 years ago that we made on this channel about the best fried chicken in Riyadh, a place called Al Kandil Al Dahabi that we went to. And so we went there. We arrived at the chicken place just before the Asr prayer time. And the guys were like, well, we can't serve you. You have to leave. So they actually closed. We went outside. They closed and they left. They just left and went to the mosque or wherever they do. And then about 40 minutes later, they come back and they reopen and everything's like normal. So yeah, it's not break time I think in the way that we would think it, but it's actually mandated by the state that everything shuts down during that time. Oh, it's gone out again. Actually, the wrapper has also kind of come off. Yeah, there it is. The wrapper came off. So now I'm strictly on the binder. We'll do a little more lighting. So how's this cigar doing? It's doing well. And the question we always have to ask is, would I buy it again, since we're almost towards the end of it, right? Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's $6.80. It's nice. It's been a nice smoke, nice draw, peppery, a little bit of spicy, not terribly complex. Like, I always go back to the Revenge. The Revenge is definitely my favorite. It's got, the Revenge is what it is. It's not that. It's not as complex. It's not as satisfying, but it's still very good. And $6.80, man, that's a heck of a good bargain. All right, so Mark's saying you do a back and forth stir halfway through, so at the 5-minute mark, I imagine, and you check out the recipe and try. You just have to dial it in a bit. Run. It's based on food science study of coffee extraction. So let's see. You said Gagne 10-minute AeroPress. Let's see, AeroPress. Oops. I'm guessing it said Coffee at Astra. Those guys are very technically oriented. Inshallah. Actually, when you get it to when you actually get it to light, like it is now, right? Then it's more like a mashallah. So mashallah. Actually, I don't know exactly what the translation is, but mashallah is like you use it as a kind of like not an expletive, but like as a like, oh yeah, oh nice, right on, that kind of thing. I will have to try this. So 99-degree water, 10-minute long brew times. His guy says the only reason I would not go for 100C exactly is that I would destabilize the stream of my fellow gooseneck kettle. Would it really destabilize the stream of the fellow kettle? Because that jiggler, that restrictor, I mean, it's so restrictive that I can't imagine that really would do that. And at 100C, it's boiling, but like once you pull the kettle off of the heat source, that cavitation from the boiling stops. So I don't know. Astounded by the extreme sweetness. Huh. Well, I agree with James that 10-minute brews are not desirable in a cafe environment. Well, these guys have not seen the dudes from what's it called? Chate Hato. There's a place in Japan called Chate Hato in Tokyo, right by the so you've seen that Shibuya crossing where everything's crossing, right? That big intersection that's really famous. That's on the one side of the JR station, right? If you go to the other side of the JR station and you go out that way, there's a place called Chate Hato, and that guy is truly insane. Like, do I have a? Let me see if I can show you that. Actually, because I think I do have some of those videos around here. All right, let me see if I can share this window. Because I think since we're talking about long brew times, I think that would be quite. Let me go back here, share screen. Window, can I see this? Here it is. Okay, let's share this. Boom. All right, so as you can see, this is Chati Hato. This is the owner, right? And what he's doing here, he's doing this type of brewing method, which is what they call the Nell drip. And the Nell drip is basically a flannel cotton filter on a ring. And he's brewing it into a brew kettle, but he does it at a very, very slow rate. Like, he's super precise and super disciplined in the way that he pours the water, that it actually takes 15 minutes to brew this way. And I was totally, the first time I saw it, I was totally surprised, like shocked at how well he was doing. Now, I was seated a little bit away from where he's standing, but it's really, really interesting. So he like pours it a little bit and then comes back to it. And Rob says he goes 209. Okay. 209. I got it. Yes, means like if you try to pour right away, it'll kind of bubble out. Okay. So, this is just more, this video is more about like, these guys talk about like the 10-minute brews are not desirable. Yeah, in American style cafes for sure. But like, these are the kind of places where, and this place Chate Hato is basically the kind of place where they're so focused on what they're doing that, people are willing to wait. Plus, the coffees here start at like $10 a cup. And we're not talking like 12-ounce cups. We're talking like 4-ounce cups. So super small, super precise, super concentrated type brewing. It's not, that would not work for competition. I think if you tried that in the Brewer's Cup, you'd be out of time. Makes you want to long. And that I'm gonna have to try that. I'll have to play around with that a little bit. Now that I have my AeroPress Go. Oh yeah. These guys have beautiful, beautiful cups. I mean, it's interesting. Like, this guy, when he's making your coffee, he actually, they say that he actually is observing you as the guest, and he is actually sizing you up and matching the serviceware, the cup that he's going to serve you in, to who he thinks you are in personality wise. I'd read about that from other people, and I was like, wow, that's kind of fascinating. And of course, as you see here, he's doing these other types of Kalita wedge pour overs that are a little bit more typical than what we see here in the West. Let's go a little bit faster. So as you can see, he's doing that. He's really controlling the pour, just taking his time. It's super, super like focused. Let's go a little bit forward. Yeah, so as you can see, these pour overs, he's pouring those, he's brewing those, more or less in a faster method. As you can see, the Nell drip that he's brewing is still in its brewing method. It's still in its brewing mode. Now, I don't know why he tilts his brew kettle, this thing here, but he does. I don't think he speaks English, so it's hard for me to ask like heavy duty questions on technique. Yeah, see, here he is back at it again. But he's really just pouring a really, really thin stream of water. Well, we make everybody wait. That's the thing. We make everybody wait. And the nice thing about Chate Hato is they actually make all their own cakes. So you see this girl here in the back. She's making a whipped cream frosted cake. And then on this side that you can't see, there's another girl. She's making like cheesecakes, Japanese style, non-baked cheesecakes. Oh, but like I was saying, let me see if so here he's serving He's serving, is that my coffee or no? That's the other guy's coffee. But we'll close that and I'll show you another thing here. Whoa. Let's get out of there. We'll go to another one. So, like I was saying, with them and their cups, here's the cup. So this is the coffee he served for me. And like, I just thought it was kind of neat. Like if you look at this cup, it's beautiful. And it's all like, nice porcelain, China type porcelain. And this one actually is a dragon. Like I was like, oh, wow. Kind of made me wonder, like if he really is like sizing you up, like I got the dragon. I was like, oh, I got the dragon. I felt all super cool, but there it is, nice and dark. And they do serve like cream and sugar. If you want to use that as well, you can. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get out of that. All right, good. All right. So the cigar's done. I can't really smoke any more of it. It's pretty much had it. There we are. I think it's still a little bit lit. But that's a futile exercise at this point. All right, we're going to wrap it up then. Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you spending another Thursday night. It's now just past the 10 o'clock hour here in the East Coast of the United States. We'll be back again next week, Thursday. What's that, the 29th? The 30th? 30th for another episode of our Coffee and Cigars Live. So I'll have a schedule of cigars for the next few weeks laid out by then. So be sure to tune in, bring your stuff in. As Brian says, happy holidays. Hope you have a great Christmas and whatever you celebrate, enjoy it. Tomorrow I'll be, I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, but I'll be doing something Christmassy. All right, so, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We're back again. Hope you have a great holiday. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy some great cigars, eat some good food, drink some good drinks, and we're back in and see you next time.